It should be on. Do you hear me through that now?
Tap the mic. Let me see if it's the mic. No.
You don't hear anything from there.
Yeah. Leave computer.
What's that? We hear you from something. I don't know what it is, though. Not your mic. I don't think. I could shut off the ring light, but then I get all dark. You know what I mean? I could lessen it. It's a little better. What's that, Vince? You going to talk? What'd you say?
I hear you now.
Are you hooked up to the mic this time?
I don't think so.
You know how to change it, right? The little arrow next to mute.
Yeah, I went to that, and then it says it's got a check mark next to the microphone, and then a check mark next to the MacBook speaker.
I don't know. All right, I guess we could just start.
When I leave computer audio, when I leave computer audio, yeah, I can't hear anything from you guys. So.
What about oh wait, tap your mic again. That might have been. I can't tell, dude.
I don't hear it when he taps because here.
Yeah,
that's my mic. You hear that, right?
I don't hear you tapping your mic either. Maybe that's a function on the microphones. Do you hear mine?
Well, yeah, I can hear yours.
Does it sound louder?
Yeah. Oh. So no, his mic's good.
Okay.
So you know, because we both have pop filters, you're going straight into the what you call it, Yeti.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
All right, so let's just start. We'll see how long we go, and then if she shows up, we'll take a break, and then we'll interview her for as long as we can. Let me know in the chat or some functionality if you think it's time to wrap, and we'll wrap it up. I don't know how much we'll be able to talk to her about, but Vince, you know about Tan Mom. Saint doesn't know about Tan Mom.
Well-versed. I have some questions in mind.
All right. So we'll start. Welcome to a new episode of The Usual Saints. I'm Mike D here with Saint, back from the dead, although anyone who listened last week knows he was there. Jeremy and Vinny are gone for the week. Hopefully they'll be back soon. But we got one of our guest hosts for this week, Vincent. You like Vincent, right? I always call you Vince, but you prefer Vincent. All right, so before we get to Tan Mom, because Patricia Krentcil, who should be our interview tonight, is Tan Mom. She's a whack packer from the Stern Show. She's kind of notorious for a tanning incident with her child. We'll let her explain that or talk about that when she comes on. That was about a decade ago. But Saint, any updates this week? Anything you got going on since the last episode? I know we are talking about the USSR podcast, which we are hopefully going to get off the ground, but anything going on with you?
Right, just putting it together, getting some new equipment, trying to see, what I need to get, good audio, good video. Like if we do another podcast, I just want everything to flow seamlessly. I got kind of have like a janky setup here where I'm always like mixing and matches pieces, but I got the Clamlink 4K from Elgato, so I got that going with the mirrorless camera. So I hope that looks better. Maybe even record some YouTube videos and fixing the audio so I sound better and just getting everything right for it. So I don't know if we can record sometime this week, but we still doing Demolition Man, right? First.
Yeah, but I gotta watch movie. It first. I haven't seen it in a while. I remember it. I bought it
right.
Just when you talked about it, but I haven't watched it yet because I was catching up on Mayor of Easttown,
right.
and other things. So Gangs of London, like we discussed, and things like that. Catching up on Fear the Walking Dead, which I know you stopped watching, but I'm still trying to.
I got to season 2, I think. Fear the Walking Dead. Like they got to a boat. There was a black guy with a yacht. And then afterwards, I'm just like, and then the Walking Dead proper, I just quit on that. I'm like, all right, this is just
the black guy with the yacht threw you. Like you couldn't believe in that anymore. You can believe in the zombies.
Yeah. The show was getting too ridiculous. So I was like, zombie apocalypse, okay, but black man with a yacht that knowing the Navy hasn't shot yet, it's just too out there. But yeah. A lot of shows, before just I do those two shows, The Walking Dead and Fear of the Walking Dead, are the first shows where me and my wife are like we quit on. Before we used to ride through bad TV shows and movies. Now it's like we'll be 20 minutes to a movie or episode 1 and 2 to a show and be like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
not enough time. Just-
Yeah, I mean, there's just too much stuff to watch, whether it's movies or TV. I'm the same way now. Like I used to be, like you said, ride or die. Like I was like, even the procedurals, like SVU, every Law and Order, all 4 Law and Orders back when they're 4, anything like that. But I had to cut out like procedurals, man. I'm a serialized TV show now,
Right.
mostly HBO or cable. Like I can't really get into network stuff unless it's like really great. But yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but we'll see. We got that lined up. We just got to record a few, get them in the pipe, and go from there. Vince, it's been about a month, I guess, or more since we had you on the show.
Yeah.
How's life been going for you?
Good. Still working a lot and hanging out. That's about it. Watching a lot of not Netflix, Discovery Plus. I'm still sucked into BattleBots. I know it's an old show. Still on. My favorite show. So that and all the cooking shows on there.
Did you know that? Go ahead.
Real quick to me, how is Discovery Plus? I mean, how much is it?
Awesome. So I get it free with Verizon, but if it's not, it's like $7 or $8 a month. But like everything, Guy Fieri, all these fun shows are on there. I love it. All of the home building shows. The opposite of what Mike probably watches.
No, exactly. I don't watch a lot of Discovery Plus. I do watch on Discovery Plus Ghost Nation because I'm a glutton for punishment, and so it's the Ghost Hunters. Jason Hawes and Steve Gonzalez and Steve Tango. They went over to Discovery, or I think it was Travel Channel or something like that, and did a show separate from what's the other guy's name? Grant, whatever his last name is. So they split the 2 main guys, and 3 guys went and did their own show. What's that?
You're talking about the one with Zach?
No, I don't watch that shit. No, Ghost Hunters, the original, man. They were plumbers. They worked for Road Order during the day, and then they did ghost hunting at night. So, that one's all right. That's on Discovery Plus. But the big news with Discovery Plus is that AT&T is cutting it loose and is selling like the entire Warner Media thing, and it's going to merge with Discovery Plus. So it's going to be HBO Max plus Discovery Plus into what they're trying to make another like streaming giant to compete with like Netflix and Hulu and whatnot.
I love it because with Verizon you get that and Disney Plus, which I never watch, but it's free. So it's like, all right, who needs a password? Here you go. But
you need to watch Disney Plus. Good shit on Disney Plus, man. Marvel, Star Wars.
I can't get into that.
Disney Plus, for me, that's my jam. But yeah, that's why I asked, because I just seen the big thing how Discovery just bought HBO Max, so they're making like a super streamer thing.
It's pretty good.
Forming like Voltron, and I guess that then I'm guessing Paramount and then Peacock or whatever that one is. They're gonna have to, because it's Netflix, Disney Plus, and then whoever. And Amazon's pretty much like, hey, we make our money off selling packages. This is just like some extra to keep you around. But
I think they've given up.
No, they haven't, but it's just, have you ever read the thing? Amazon's whole business model is like they add things to Prime just so like every year, even though they add $1 or $2 to Prime every year, like it's like, hey, we give you movies, you got music, you got all this stuff. And really it's just like, we just want you to keep, buying shit off Amazon. So that's like they do, but they're not like serious actors. Yeah. I guess they're kind of just like Apple in the same way, where Apple's into the streaming, be like, we got a couple of billion, might as well make TV shows to sell iPhones, But I was gonna say, Peacock, Paramount, Discovery. I'm sure there's a few other ones that I know they're gonna have to combine in order to keep up with Netflix and Disney, because those big two, they both have. I think Disney's over 100 million now subscribers to Disney Plus. So. And Netflix,
Yeah, I mean, the streamers, that's where it's at now. Amazon, they got a lot of stuff. I haven't watched this show, Them, but I've heard a lot about it, a lot of good things. I obviously watched Invincible. Go ahead. Well, you can say it.
What I heard about them is it's like it's if they took the movie Us and completely ripped it off and split it into 8 episodes, now you have them. So that's all I've heard about it.
That's kind of what it looks like. But I enjoyed Us. I didn't like it as much as Get Out. But Vincent's in Attack Dogs.
Somebody wants to get out. Hey.
I apologize.
It's fine. Okay. All right. So let's see. Streaming giants. We talked about the worst news of the week. I got to say, Jennifer Love Hewitt is pregnant again, and it's not by me. I'm very upset about this. That's just me.
Not her first either.
No, I know. but I'm a big Jennifer Love Hewitt guy, as we've talked about in past episodes. So I was
married or
I think she's married. Yeah, I think she is. Yeah. I think she got taken off the market a while ago. We were talking about, we were talking about the her change in appearance over the years, back from when I know her from like Can't Hardly Wait to now. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's any kind of plastic surgery or anything like that, but she posted a pregnant bikini photo the other day. Wasn't horrible. So,
right.
Yeah, it's the face that's changed for me, and I'm just like, come on. I love JLH the way she was, but that's fine. That's just me. I Can't Hardly Wait is my, like I said, that's my ideal standard. But that's me. So we had some celebrity deaths this week I wanted to touch on. Charles Grodin. Yeah, Grodin. He was Beethoven. He's also, I guess, Heartbreak Kid and Midnight Run. And he had a little talk show on in maybe the 90s on CNBC or something like that for a while. I'm sure every one of us has seen Beethoven. Yeah, it was like, I guess it was just him. Stern was talking about the other day. Like it was just him. And he would always rag on Stern for like being basically like the dreg of society and downfall of society and all that shit. Okay. Yeah. So, but I mean, I remember him as the dad in Beethoven. I've never seen Heartbreak Kid or Midnight Run. I know they're supposed to be good. I just haven't gotten around to it, because there's too many movies. But I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on Charles Grodin or any memories of watching any of his movies or anything like that.
No.
I was thinking about this too. I was like, so a guy dies recently, but the biggest thing people would know him in is Beethoven, a movie about, I don't know, just a big husky dog. And I was like, okay. I did not know he had a talk show.
I don't remember anything else from that movie.
That wasn't big for you guys? Like, I remember Beethoven as a kid, like watching it, and I thought it had did it have that chick from what's her name? Mara Wilson, the young girl who seemed to be in everything in the 90s. I think she was in that movie as like the young kid, but maybe I'm wrong.
I just remember Saint Bernard.
You remember what? The Saint Bernard? Yeah. That would be Beethoven himself. Right. The other one who died, and Saint, I don't know if you had anything. This is big for me because of Chappelle's show, Paul Mooney.
Right.
Yep. I was a big fan of Chappelle's show. Whenever he come on his Negrodamus or when he come on with his little talk segments, I was huge into that. So I mean, I didn't forget he was alive. It's always shocking when somebody you don't hear about for a while kind of dies. And not that it's a total shock. I think he was in his 70s or something. But
79.
Yeah. So I mean, he was. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying he was big even before Chappelle. Like Richard Pryor, he was I think writing with him. I think he got helped start some. I say young comedians, but one of them's dead. I mean, he helped Robin Williams get his start. He helped a lot of the comedians probably in the late 70s or around that time get their start. So obviously he was big on the scene. But go ahead, Saint. What were you going to say?
Well, for Mooney, if you ever, I don't know, do you guys know who Neil Brennan is? The guy who co-created Chappelle's show with Dave Chappelle. He's, a white guy comedian in his own right. He wrote Half Baked with Chappelle. But I would say Paul Mooney is basically Richard Pryor's Neil Brennan to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's Neil Brennan. Paul Mooney was that to Richard Pryor. I mean, helped write a lot of his jokes for his stand-up. I mean, if you go back, you listen to stories of stand-ups talking about the Comedy Store where Pryor would be up there just bombing, and him and Mooney would get together and work on his material until it got great. His short-lived NBC show that Richard Pryor had. Yes, Richard Pryor did have a show on NBC. It was thoroughly canceled after like 4 episodes because I think the network was like, yeah, this is being in the Richard Pryor business is too much for them. But they also have there's a great roast that they did once the show was canceled. And it's on the dais. I mean, they're roasting Richard Pryor, but basically because the show got canceled, you got Robin Williams in his late 20s, early 30s. You have John Witherspoon, who they call the kid. It's crazy. John Witherspoon has been an old man since the 90s till, he passed away like 2 years ago, but he's played grandpa basically since the early 90s. And this is him in the late 70s or early 70s, around that time. He's on the dais. Robin Williams, Sandra Bernhardt, and they're cracking jokes on her about being the white chick in a black writer's room. But Paul Mooney's there, and they're just roasting him. But Paul Mooney was basically his head writer, and he's just like a comedic legend who people just don't know about because a lot of his work was behind the scenes. Like you said, Chappelle, when he did Chappelle's show, brought him up. And Negrodamus. I love when they did the movie review, him and the 2 white girls, and the one one of his best jokes, I think, and I know he wrote it. He was like, they're watching The Last Samurai of Tom Cruise, and he's like, Hollywood goes too far, man. He goes, The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise. He goes, you know what? I'm gonna make a movie called The Last Nigga on Earth starring Tom Hanks. And that's just a classic Paul Mooney. I'm like, it's just so, just a legend. And you're not going to get comedians like that. I mean, they're all dying off now, unfortunately, during that prior era where stand-up was like just becoming what we know stand-up comedy is today, where it transitions from, take my wife, please, that cheesy shit to where it became stand-up that we know now. And all those guys are kind of dying off. So sad to see, but one of the great for my money, one of the great comedians. Check him out. He's got a couple of specials out there.
I gotta say, I haven't been. I've been not really into stand up lately. I can't remember the last stand up I saw. I saw Jim Jeffries live. Whenever he comes around, I love Jeffries. But I haven't seen any of the Chappelles. I haven't seen Seinfeld stuff. I haven't seen. I know Chris Rock put out some stuff. I haven't seen anything. Just I don't know why. When it was on HBO back in the day when I was in my teens or 20s, I was on top of that right away. Every Chris Rock special that came out, everything that came out. But I don't know. I feel like I saw Tracy Morgan a few years ago after his accident at Hard Rock in Orlando, and he was all right, but I don't know. He was on kind of a God kick. I think that's kind of his new thing since the accident, which is cool, I guess. But I wasn't that into it. But Jim Jeffries, he's my jam because his political ideology kind of lines up with mine. So I love seeing him in when he does stand up. Vince, you know Paul Mooney? Were you a Chappelle Show fan? Anything other knowledge of him?
I hadn't watched the Chappelle Show in forever, but to the comedy stand-ups thing, I still kind of follow along with my handful of favorite comedians, and they're usually like a Netflix special or whatever. So I follow along, like Anthony Jeselnik, all them.
Anthony Jeselnik.
I love him.
I know. I forgot. That's like the whitest comedian you could like, I think.
No, his delivery, it's kind of along the lines of Seinfeld.
No, there's way wider comedians you like than Jeselnik. I'm a Jeselnik fan. There's
definitely way wider comedians.
I mean,
I could never get into him. I don't know. I think I only saw him on the roasts. I don't know if it's because he was dating what's her name.
You need to watch his stand-up. It's just his delivery. It's a Seinfeld type. Just the build-up. It's different than most comedians, I would say. I don't know. I like it. Kind of dark.
Dark's good. I like dark comedy.
Dark. He's very dark, and he's like, I'll say the things, when that joke is too soon, and like Jeselnik, I'll always say the too soon thing way too soon. And I don't know. I know he's doing a podcast now, but talking about stand-up, actually, that's a great topic to get into because I was just thinking about this the other day and what you were saying about stand-ups and where we're at with stand-up comedy. And I don't know if it's because there's like too many, the Netflixification of it where there's so many specials coming out, and there's like, we're before an HBO special was a big event. Like, here's my HBO special. Now Netflix, they've got, a new stand-up every 2 weeks. They got a new stand-up on there. But it's also this thing about this new, how all these stand-ups are so against wokeness and cancel culture, and people are afraid to say things. And I was just thinking about this, and I kind of feel like, okay, so you had a thing that happened with Aziz Ansari, right? Which was kind of grayish. Should he have known? Was he too aggressive? Should he have picked up on signals, even though she wasn't telling him that she didn't want to do anything, but he kept going, kind of deal? It was kind of a weird gray area kind of thing, right? So you had the Aziz thing, but I think the bigger thing was what happened with Louis C.K. And I think at the time, for my money at least, Louis was the biggest comic stand-up wise. I mean, of course, it's Kevin Hart. I mean, but to me, I think Kevin Hart's, you can pretty much put him as an actor who does stand-up. It's every other movie, and then the Kevin Hart stand-up. I think what happened with Louis C.K. and like there's just like I don't know if it's fear, I don't know if it's a hesitance, but so many comics, you just hear them on podcasts and stuff, and they're all just worried about, oh, it's woke culture, it's this and it's that. And I'm just like, comedy's always been a risque area where people say things, but I've always felt if it's funny and if it has a point, it can be said. Take Jeselnik. Jeselnik is a perfect example.
Yep.
He's taken it to the edge and a little bit past it, but that's his stick, right? So when he does it, it's like, okay, we know what we're getting from Jeselnik. Where I guess maybe some other comics, it's just, they're just, I don't know, maybe doing hacky things. But now it seems every stand-up is now fearful, like I'm going to say the wrong thing and then they're going to come after, which I don't even know what that means anymore. It's like,
which would make me not want to go to their show. Is like, if you're not going to be your regular comedic self, why am I going to pay money to see you? It's like going to see a band like Metallica, and then I'm paying $180 for a ticket. Oh, we're going to play our new album that isn't out yet. Like, no, I'm paying $180 to see, their old stuff.
Right. Speaking of Louis C.K., I want to let you guys know, I don't think I've ever told anyone, you guys this. I think I told my wife.
Right.
So I heard about like the allegations against him like in 2015. I got the email right in front of me. It's dated May 30th, 2015. This was years before he got canceled, right?
Yes.
So I was drunk one night and I sent him an email basically replying to one of the things I would get back to him. Never got a response, but I could read the email if you want.
Please.
Any interest?
Wow. What? Yes.
Yeah, I was drunk. So
if he had responded, I'd be like, this is gonna be the best thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I know, right? Okay, so I put, hey Louis, first off, I'm kind of drunk right now. Just got home from playing trivia, and I'm reading these articles on the Superficial and Gawker about you. That just shows how long ago it was, because Superficial and Gawker I don't think exists anymore.
No.
I've seen you sued to death.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah.
I've seen you perform stand-up once or twice. I think everything you do is amazing. So reading these articles is kind of mind-boggling. Cards on the table. I'm a news photographer, but I don't care about that. At this point, I'm 99.9% sure I won't get a response from the actual Louis C.K., but did you do the stuff they are saying about you? I'm a fucking pervert myself, but you're a hero to me, man. And you know the stuff I mean, forcing chicks to watch you jerk off. I don't care if you do, but chicks need free will, man. Nothing should be forced. Like I said, I don't expect to hear back from you, but if you did these things people are saying, please come forward and admit it and get help. If you didn't and you're trying to see the stories go away, I don't know, man. I don't want you to be the next Bill Cosby if you aren't. And then I kind of ended it with, just don't want it to be true kind of stuff.
So, I never got
no, listen, I'm sure I don't even know if it's a monitored email box. I mean, it was louisck@louisck.com, but I think that kind of spoiled him for me. Like I don't listen to his comedy anymore. There's certain things like Michael Jackson I still listen to. I despise what he most likely did because I watched Leaving Neverland, but I can still get enjoyment out of the music. I think we talked about that on the last episode you were on, Vincent, when my cousin was talking about trying to differentiate the art and the artist. My wife, she can't listen to Michael Jackson. She doesn't want to hear any of that. She doesn't want to listen to Louis C.K. And I don't even listen to Louis C.K. when he pops on my iPhone when it's, on shuffle. I just hit next. And I don't know why that thing in particular, why he in particular, I can't listen to, but
he was just all right for me. I never really got into him. So
gotcha.
Oh, I was actually on a side note. Could you imagine just being a little bit famous and the emails you get from randos? Like, and Louis C.K. wasn't even that famous, but you got Mike email him in the middle of the night. Imagine if Louis did read that, be like, "Oh my God, that's what being famous is like." Anyway, I was just thinking about that. But I was big into Louis because I'm like when I get into something, I get deep into the history and stuff. So I've listened deep into the history of stand-up and all that kind of stuff. And for a time, Louis was like the man in stand-up. I mean, he had the show on FX, but he also did the thing. I don't know if you remember, Mike. Around that same time, he basically cut out Ticketmaster and all the ticket middlemen, whatever companies. He's like, I'm going to sell my tickets direct. And I think the highest price ticket was like $45. He's like, I have enough money to live. You don't need to pay $100, $200 into my shows. $45 a show. He's like, for, a basic 300, 400 seat venue. And he was changing the way stand-ups were thinking about their careers with it. And it's funny you mentioned that because I remember hearing about that in 2015. It's funny. It took a while before it became like mainstream. And, to be fair, I think he kind of got caught up in the whole Harvey Weinstein, which is to me all the way, rapist, go to jail, don't get out, hope you die in prison thing, to where it's like Louis, I'm not excusing it. And I'm saying like you jerk it off. I really wish he would have came out and been like, hey, did a stand-up and explained what happened and, apologized and asked for forgiveness. It kind of looked like he just sulked back and was hoping like it would go away. And he has he has some of the biggest. Joe Rogan's his friend. Go ahead.
Wasn't he one of the first of the Me Too movement to get caught? Wasn't he one of the first ones?
I don't know, caught, but he kind of got caught up in it, It's kind of like when the Weinstein thing dropped and all these other people were dropping, then his name, because the article was about two female comedians and there was like a blind item where there was a female comedian on a podcast and she was talking about a big name comedian who just was jerking off in front of her. And she was just like, and she stopped herself because she was like, you know what? I don't want to say anything more. And you could tell is like, I don't want to fuck up my career because Louis is the biggest thing right now at clubs and shit. And I remember listening to her, like, oh, she's talking about Louis C.K. I was like, I don't know how I know this, but she's talking about Louis. And he did the same thing Cosby does. If you go back to Cosby's 1969 album, he talks about Spanish fly.
Spanish fly. Yeah.
Like you drop the Spanish fly and the girls drink and whoa, you could say, and you're listening to this now, you're like, motherfucker. And Louis does the same thing. He had in his show and his act, he has bits about just, guys, sometimes you just want to just take a jacket off. And it's like, it's funny, but looking back now, you're like, I don't know that art imitating life or back and forth, but the Louis thing, I think, kind of changed it where like comedians are like, I don't know, because I don't know what you like, if it's Rogan, even Chris Rock, and then Chappelle, it's like they're all on this like, oh, you can't say anything now anymore. Everything's too woke. And this, I'm like, what can't you say? And who is canceling you? It's like, they're like, oh, these people get on Twitter and talk. I'm like, why are you guys on Twitter? Like, if I was worth your money doing this, like, I wouldn't care what Twitter, like us, like we care what Twitter says about us. Like we want to get big. If I'm making $100 million living in Austin, it's like, I don't care what anybody on Twitter says about me, but it's like all these stand-ups, like, oh, you get on stage and you can't say anything anymore. It's like, nah, you can say it, but it has to be funny and have a point. It can't just be like, let's make fun of Asian people because they're Asians, because being Asian's funny, right? Like, no.
To me, if you're going to a comedy show and you know who the comedian is, you should know what to expect and just go in. if you're offended by that person and you already know who they are going, just walk out. That's just my opinion. I'm sure Mike has a different opinion. That's just me.
Well, I mean, Chappelle, I think, is a prime example of you can offend people and you can say controversial shit. If you make it funny, then you can go ahead and do that. South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, another example. They put it out every week. They do it.
20 years they've been doing that. And it hadn't stopped. The train hasn't stopped. And yet people are like, oh, you can't. Like, they offend everybody, but the show has a place. They're just not offending people just to offend them. It's like when, granted, there's some people who are base level thinkers and they don't get satire. A joke is just a joke and they can't think the larger picture. But South Park has been making fun of everyone, but it always has a larger meaning. And they get away with it because, an intelligent person can be like, okay, I see what they're making fun of. They're not making fun of Black people because they're Black. When they literally have a character called Token on the show, and it's, but it's a point, and that's why it's funny. I just think there's a lot of hacky comedians, and, Bill Maher is doing this a lot too. Like, he's always complaining about cancel culture and wokeness. It's like, Bill, if you're funny and you have a point, people will get it. But if you're just trying to make fun of people, people are like, they're not down with it anymore. I think it's an evolution of what's funny and what's not. And I think some comics just don't want to evolve their act. So
and I think Token's last name is actually Black too. So I think it's Token Black.
Well, there was Cleveland Brown.
But they're the richest. They're the richest people in South Park. Like,
right.
So it's fun,
All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. I'll reach out to Tan Mom, see where she is, because she's late for the interview. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Usual Saints.
Usual Saints.
All right. Stop that. And let me text this lady.
So do you know Tama? Like, do you know about her?
What about what? Oh, Saint, no.
Oh, me? Sainte, no. I read that article. I guess she tried to take her 5-year-old kid to the tanning.
So she recently moved to Florida.
Oh, great.
Yeah, another one. Yeah, and then there's a couple of whack packers in Florida that she keeps in touch with.
Bobo and Wendy, the slow adult.
Wendy and Bobo are both near me.
Yeah, I know. I told you I tried to get Bobo to join our kickball league, and he seemed down, and then he did not. So
yeah, on the bring his wig.
He's not wearing that anymore, right?
I know. Yeah.
I texted her. I said, "You coming on? We'll see what happens." I guess we can.
She's been doing these little Tanma. I don't even know if she'd call them concerts, but like she'd get like JD and a couple, maybe like a handful of other people to buy her tickets, and then it would just be a circus of a show for like an hour.
Yeah, Vince, I don't know if you know, I reached out to like several Stern Show staffers and members and whatnot, and I can't get any response. The only one who responded to me was Ronnie, and he's like, sorry, dude, we're not allowed to come on the other shows, that kind of stuff. So yeah, he said that he can't come on. High Pitch Eric wants money. I told him no. Jackie Martling wants money. Yeah. And who's the other one that I reached out to? Oh, Bobo. He's like, same thing. He's like, oh, sorry, man, I can't come on another podcast. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, it's got to be like, if they're big enough, there's got to be other like shows probably with like a budget. Be like, all right, we'll throw you like $500 to come or whatever. But
you gotta reach out to Medicated Pete.
Yeah, I should.
He's one of my favorite.
Feel free, man. Like I said, Jeremy has got his first guest a few weeks ago. If you want to reach out on Twitter, man, feel free. Be like, hey, Medicated Pete, we got this podcast.
Medicated Pete, Bigfoot, and then the one that I like, who's the guy with the stuttering issue, that like the dog men.
Oh, Shawnee. I'm in touch with Shawnee. That's high register Sean. I've been trying to get him on. But
I figured you would hate him, but
No, listen, I love him because he's good radio. But,
I could
or
listen to him
podcast.
talk or try to talk all day.
All right, let's just come back and see if she'll respond. I'm going to use all that, just we probably are talking about anyway. But welcome back to the usual Saints. I'm Mike D here with Vince and Saint. Unfortunately, Tam Mom last read my text at 4:31. She sent me a text earlier saying, I said, "Are we still on for 7:30 p.m.?" She's like, "Yes, I've been swamped. Can you send me the information again? And sure, I'll be there for you guys. I'm sorry, I'm packing. I got to slide again. Yada yada yada. I hope you're having an awesome day. I definitely will be there for you."
Wait, I'm usually hip to all the lingo. What does that mean? I got to slide again. What does that mean?
Dude, with her, you have no idea. I'm not sure. So she could have an actual slide, or it could be something else. I don't know.
What are we sliding to? I don't. Okay.
We'll see if she shows up. But I mean, we got other stuff to talk about. We talked about the dead people, which I always love bringing up. Oh, hey, I don't know if you guys are big into hockey. Yes. I'm an Islanders fan. They just tied up the series with the Penguins today. I'm like, yeah. So I'm pretty happy about that.
I've read you mentioned they had won their first playoff. They won a playoff game last year. Didn't you mention that? Didn't you say something? The Islanders winning a first playoff game? I'm like,
no, not the first. You mean in the topic list? You can say the topic list. It's okay. It's a known thing to anyone who listens to this show. Okay. No, I was just happy that they won a playoff game in round one because I think they won the first one, lost the next two, and then won today. So it's 2-2. I'm just happy. I like to see him go far. I'd like to see him win a Stanley Cup in my lifetime. I saw them when I was born in 80, so then they won the 4 straight, but I was a baby. And so I don't know any of it. Same thing, with the Steelers. I missed all their wins in the 70s and then saw them in the past, 2 wins in the past 20 years, basically. But
I've gotten to see all of my teams go to the championship, but I haven't seen all of them win the championship.
What are your teams?
I love Philly, everything. I'm from Jersey, South Jersey, so gotcha. I saw the Flyers. They were great last year. Hot garbage this year. So
you're Philly everything except
first team I saw on TV was the Chiefs. So I've been a Chiefs fan my entire life, which was also terrible until a handful of years ago.
Gotcha.
when that certain guy. You're a Bills fan?
Eagles fan.
Oh, Eagles fan. I was gonna say you throwing a third NFL team into your roster.
NFL team. That's the only thing I have 2 teams for.
I mean, if I had to, I would say I can root for New York teams since I'm from New York. So if the Giants are playing, I can root for them. Except for if they're playing the Steelers, I can't root for them. Obviously,
you're a Steelers fan, but you're not a Penguins fan.
No, because the only reason I like the Steelers is when I started watching the NFL in the 90s. I don't know. I just latched on to Bill Cowher. I don't know if it was the clenched jaw or Jerome Bettis or whatnot. I grew up like a mile or 2 maybe from the Coliseum on Long Island. So, and my dad's an Islanders fan for his whole life. So I'm a big Islanders fan.
Although I never really to beat Pittsburgh.
Me too. I never really got into hockey until I don't know the past few years when I could actually go to games live. Because same thing with basketball. I'm an Orlando Magic fan. Boo! They dropped all their players this year.
Sixers #1 since 2001.
In what?
Huh? In the Eastern Conference, number one seed.
Since 2000, I'm going.
The Sixers are the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, first time since 2001.
Oh, there we go. Gotcha. Okay, I thought you had. They had like #1.
Sorry,
I was like, have you watched Philly?
No, we're 5 years removed from a 10-win season. So
right. I mean, the last Sixers highlight was Iverson stepping over Tyronn Lue. I was like, why are there Philly highlights? Everything else has been bad, but. Besides Iverson, but
I think we have a good shot this year.
Maybe. I don't know. The East is just like if logically it should just be the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they've got the 3-headed beast of death with Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, but they're all head cases. So
no defense, and one of them's injured all the time.
Well, I mean, I thought you were Pittsburgh all the way. I still don't know why you were a Steelers. I now you just told me why you're a Steelers fan, but I I like Pittsburgh as a town because all the sports teams has the same colors, and I wish that's how it was with Miami. But yeah, I root for Miami everything except for college football. I go for the Gators there, but Miami everything, including them wannabe whales down there playing football. Like,
Gators. So are you excited about a Tebow mania again? Stay in the state.
We talked about this. Like, I don't care, and I don't realize why people like when Tim Tebow was the quarterback for the Gators, he was helping us win championships, and so I love Tim Tebow. But I would tell people, I'm like, yeah, that the way he plays is not going to work in the NFL. Yeah. And they're like, how are you dissing your own quarterback? I'm like, because I see him play, and I know how they play in the NFL, and it works for college. And if he's winning his championships, I am fine with it. But I was like,
I thought it was fun in college.
Oh, that when the Gators won basketball championship, then a football championship, and then it was the greatest time to be a Florida Gators fan. Like, I would talk so much shit to all my Florida State and Miami friends who root for him, but I was like, what Tebow does is not gonna. His windup is too long, and if he thinks he's gonna truck over guys in the NFL, it's like everyone's a 5-star recruit here, so go ahead and try to truck. The Baltimore Ravens defense or some of those defenses. Tim Tebow's a small guy, and now he's doing what he probably should have. He probably should have been a tight end from the get go. But I did love when it was Tebow mania, and you had people who were. Let's be honest. The whole clean cut, bend the knee, pray to Jesus, that whole thing is why a lot of people, fell in love with. I'm like, listen, those Gator teams Tim Tebow played on, if he was really a Christian, he'd be like, I can't play with these guys. Because there were some thugs. Hernandez is a murderer. The Pouncey twins, they're thugs. That whole squad was nothing but like thugs, gangsters, and Urban Meyer covered up like half the things they're doing. Anyway, so Tebow won championships, had fun, went to the NFL, and
won a playoff game. Sorry, Mike, I had to throw that in.
To me, it was just entertainment. I'm like, why do you watch? Sports isn't that, it's serious, but it's not that serious. So it's like, aren't we just watching to have fun? And if you have a guy in there who clearly isn't really good, but it's winning and people are cheering, it's like, hey, I'm here for the show. Like,
he should have paid that field goal kicker a lot of money because that's what got them to the playoffs.
But then again, Tom Brady, his first 3 Super Bowls were all won off the foot of Adam Vinatieri.
100%.
So it is what it is. But to me, it's like, just enjoy the show. Like, he goes to Jacksonville. It's gonna be why else would I watch a Jacksonville Jaguars game? Like, yes, they just drafted, the kid from Clemson, who I think is gonna be a beast.
I think he's gonna be great.
But this makes the Jacksonville Jets so much more interesting. Like, I will watch Jaguar games now just to see what they do with Tebow. And that's all, be interesting. Otherwise, it's like, why would I tune in to watch a Jaguar game and watch them get destroyed? Like, if it's interesting, just roll with it. But you have people always taking somebody's rosters. Like, no one's deserves.
I think it's just to sell seats, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion.
The what?
I think it's just to sell some seats.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, he already has like the top 3 jerseys sales.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's your boy from
I wanted to show that's the hair swap we talked about last week. That's Trevor Lawrence on the right, but if you swap his hair onto Mac Jones's body and you put Mac Jones' hair on Trevor Lawrence, look at Mac Jones.
That's Mac Jones?
Yes, it looks like
Get the hell out of here.
That looks like all right, chick.
Female.
If I had a few drinks, say, I don't know.
You definitely would.
That's funny.
So I thought that was funny when I saw that.
Yes, that was a male.
I just want to correct you, Saint. Hernandez was a murderer.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
not anymore. I didn't watch the documentary on that. I guess I should get around to that sometime. They made that documentary. I think it's on Netflix, but
there's a good podcast about it too. Just, apparently he had issues, and I guess he, deal with his sexuality and being gay and everything. It was a lot, man. And all I know is he picked the real one though. His wife, she did not rat. She did not talk. She went the whole way, and she's collecting whatever, I don't know, retirement bonus. I guess there was a clause that she still gets to collect whatever money that he got because when he killed himself. So she was a real one, even though.
Let's see. We need to talk about the Ricky Schroeder thing. Have you guys all seen the video or heard the audio of Ricky Schroeder at the Costco in California? So Ricky Schroeder, everyone knows Silver Spoons, right? Blonde-haired kid. You remember Silver Spoons, the show We Were Kids? All of us are in the same age range. Anyway, he went to a Costco after the CDC said that you don't have to wear masks if you're fully vaccinated. Try to get into the Costco without a mask. The manager wouldn't let him in. And he recorded this rant, this tirade, yelling at the manager, and the manager just held his ground, just like they do, because he's like, hey, California law right now. I know what the CDC is saying, but California law says you have to wear a mask. We haven't gotten any updates yet. And it's also Costco policy. And so he put this thing on Twitter. He got a bunch of blowback, and I guess he had to put up an apology video. But I mean, what do you guys think of like these pseudo celebrities doing this kind of shit? But also he also bailed out what's his name, Kyle Rittenhouse, the shooter from Wisconsin or whatnot. He's one of the guys who bailed him out too. So I don't know. You guys got any thoughts on Ricky Schroeder?
I thought the Costco thing, not that it even matters to this, but I thought it was store by store, or was it all Costco? Our Costco where I go, I know that you can walk right in without a mask right now, but
it's their policy is whatever state, local ordinance or guidance is, that's what they follow. Okay. So if your state is still under mask mandate, if it's not, then whatever, but whatever your state and local, that's what they follow.
Gotcha.
So I'm of two minds to this. First of all, on the one hand, just on a human being level, it's like, fuck anybody who wants to insult somebody who's at their job and just doing their job. I don't care if you're famous, not famous, whatever. Understand, do you really think this motherfucker wants to sit here and bullshit with your dumb ass about a mask? Like, I'm sure the manager of Costco has a million other fucking things he could be doing, but he has to sit up here and talk to people about wearing a mask and explain, hey, it's California mandate. It's like people are saying, oh, Costco wants to oppress you because that's Costco's mission. No, they'd much rather you just go in, buy your stupid shit and leave. But he has to deal with people like that. That's one thing. That's famous, not famous, whatever. Respect people in their jobs. Obviously, they're doing it because they're told to. Two is, I just think that now we're living in a time where we're in this cottage industry, and it seems to be more on, I mean, there are some liberal left-leaning people who I think are doing this too, and then usually they call it, virtue signaling. But on the right, there seems to be this cottage industry where it's like, if I show that I'm against, I don't know, science or MAGA or something, that, I can get famous or get on Fox News, or it seems like, I don't know if we're falling for it, but it seems like these things are being more manufactured to get their name out there. Like, hey, I want to show that, I'm with this group, and there's a cottage industry that's growing now where it's like, let's be against mask, and how dare you, say you're going to need a vaccine passport and force to get a vaccine, which I have a kid. I know before my kids went to school, mandatory vaccinations. I know people who travel from overseas when they used to come in pre-COVID, mandatory vaccinations. But now we're talking about mandatory vaccinations. Oh, my rights. But now there seems to be an industry where it's like, record it, make yourself seem like I'm, this anti-left, again, woke, cancel culture, and then I guess basically maybe anti-science, and then you can make yourself famous again. Like I said, for this part, anybody being a dick to somebody who works at a Costco, I don't care, Costco, McDonald's, whatever, if they actually put on a stupid mask. This person's not making enough money to deal with your bullshit. But I also feel like maybe we're getting, I don't know what the word, they're basically grifters. I think they're trying to make themselves famous or refamous by acting like, oh, these people aren't gonna, tell me what to do because I'm against all this. So I get kind of like, are we just falling for the okie doke? Because sometimes I feel like these people don't even believe what the fuck they're saying. They just want the, hey, I'm against these people who are taking away my rights, blah blah blah. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but sometimes I feel like are we giving them the attention that they want from this?
For me, I mean, well, I agree with you. Why bother someone that's working at the Costco? I completely agree. Two, I would say if Costco knew that it was going to be out, that some Costco's would be able to allow people in without a mask, maybe have something on a billboard outside or a wall saying, this is why you have to wear one still. And then third, I would say, don't you have enough money to just move out of the state that's probably going to be the last one to make you wear a mask? I mean, wouldn't that just make more sense? Then you can go anywhere the heck you want. That's just my thoughts.
No, I mean, like Sainte said,
I get hazed at work all the time, as you know, with people driving by your live shots. So I know all about that.
That's fun. I love that.
Yeah.
The certain people want to show themselves as the downtrodden now. They're the ones that are being stigmatized and people are against them and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's up to the business, man. If a business says you have to wear a shirt, put on a fucking shirt. If a business tells you, hey, wear a mask, put on a fucking mask. Like, I mean, that's just basically the end of it. But Vince, even and say you're here in Florida, all the Publixes you go to, they got that sign out front that says, hey, wear a mask. They did add something that says people who are unvaccinated are required to wear a mask, but it's in the bottom, but it still says you have to wear a mask. But you see people just walk in, they don't care. I heard someone right in front of me at the deli, two people were like basically like talking shit about people wearing masks right in front of me, and I'm wearing a mask. I think I was wearing double mask at the time, but whatever.
You actually double masked?
I did for a while. So when they came out with the recommendation, I double masked, but then I got my vaccines, and lately I've been just doing the single mask. So unless I was out of COVID
when I was flying, because I flew last December when COVID was just like, woo, like everywhere in the country. I was like, I'm gonna wear the double mask because I was flying from Alaska to Seattle to where'd I go? Either Chicago or somewhere in the middle of the country. But yeah, and COVID cases everywhere were crazy. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna double mask it. But it's like, I mean, we've all talked. Obviously, this has become like kind of a political thing, but no matter what you feel about it, I wish people would understand. It's like the fucking manager at Costco is doing his job, and now you're giving this guy shit as if this all came out of nowhere. And one day you woke up and you're allowed to go to Costco and everything was fine, and the next day Costco's like, "Oh, to come to Costco, you got to wear a mask." It's like, well, yeah, even I would be like, well, what's going on? But we've had a pandemic for 18 months. You know what the deal is, and yet you're still giving this guy shit as if he's the one who created it. Like, I guess I just have such empathy for workers and the bullshit they have to do when dealing with people. It just bothers me to no end. It's like, why are you guys doing this? Oh, because that's what state law and local regulation says. Then keep it moving. But I just can't stand when they pick, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a Costco, McDonald's, you're a flight attendant. It's like, why are you giving this person shit as if they created, or as if this particular company created a just ludicrous policy? Again, if Costco had a policy where it's like, hey, if you come in here, you have to take your shirt off, I'd be like, this is a little weird. Like, what's going, let me talk to the manager, see what's going on here. But it's like, what the deal is. So why are you giving this guy shit? Call corporate, tell whoever the fuck there, hey, your policy's stupid, whatever. But the manager's sitting at the door following, I just feel for those people. Like, this guy's working an 8-hour day. And he's got to sit here and deal with your bullshit. Like, ooh.
Did anything ever come out? Was he ever said that he was drunk making this rant, or is he?
No.
Huh?
So what was the apology? What was the apology?
I didn't even hear the play. Let me look it up. I could probably get the audio.
I'm like, what are you apologizing for? If you really feel you're in the right, but I mean, maybe
can't
someone
when people are forced to apologize, it's the most I don't know. It bothers the heck out of me.
Well, here's my point, and I guess this goes back to my comedians, cancel culture, that whole kind of thing. People have said this before. We are a very forgiving society, and people in general, we don't like piling on after someone has been truly contrite and does a real apology. But sometimes I feel like these apologies just like, my publicist made a statement and I need to read it because I don't want any more Twitter, responses. It's like, if you're truly sorry and you give an apology, like, hey, I was drunk, had a bad day, I said some things I shouldn't have said. Most people are like, yeah, like every normal person, and move on. But some of these people, they'll give these like, oh, in this situation, I should have, blah, 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 and I'm going to counseling. And it's like, man, if I was people, I should start my own agency. Here you go. I've thought about this, right? Carl Sainte Public Relations. If any of my clients get into some shit, I'm like, here we go. You're going to go, you can give a heartfelt apology. You're not going to read it. You're just be like, hey, I fucked up. I say, hey, say it just like that. I fucked up. I was wrong. I had a bad day, whatever. And most people out there be like, you know what? Yeah, I have bad days too. Sometimes I say shit I shouldn't have said, but it's like these people go on there and it's like, now I have to give this press release that, sounds like somebody else wrote, like my lawyer wrote it. It's like, if you just had a bad day, then do it. But again, I think some of these people, they're just performing. Like, I think they know, and it's like they want to get it on video and look at me. I'm going to be the next, what's her name? I always call her the bigot Barbie.
Which one?
The blonde chick, not there's the older chick. There's Ann Coulter. She's the older one. Who's like the young chick who's like a blonde, who's now everything she says is like super.
Who, Tommy Lauren or whatever?
Yes, Tommy Lauren.
Yeah.
Her. It's like all her. It's like, so she's like super, conservative, right wing, firebrand. I'm doing all this, but you can look this back. There was a time when she was in a contract dispute, and there were some things about how she was, pro-choice, and she was trying to get out of her contract, and it was a completely different tone. And once all that got settled, it's like, oh yes, I'm a conservative firebrand. I like to go after AOC and blah 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 blah. And someone, I forgot where I read, but someone's like, she's just performing, right? Like this is just a hustle. Like, she's like, people that know her is like, oh no, she's pro-choice. Back in the day, she was all about, liberal this, liberal that, and they just see it as a hustle. And I'm thinking Ricky Schroeder, it's like, what do you get money being Ricky Schroeder now? I mean, are there Silver Spoons reunions or
NYPD Blue residuals? I'd say, but I guess let's see if this apology is actually on here. Well, I'm not watching NYPD Blue anywhere. This is from CNN, so we'll see if it plays. It's Morning Express with Robin Meade. I don't know. We'll see if it just plays the apology or not. Of course, there's a fucking commercial, so we'll wait on the commercial. But
commercial.
And what? It's Pride, the FX series. So we'll see. Here we go.
Former child star Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons, well, he's had other roles since then, is apologizing after posting a video of him confronting a Costco worker.
I suggest everybody in California get their refund from Costco. Give up your membership to Costco.
Uh-oh. Over the mask dispute.
Down for you good inside.
No offense, but I want to find the actual apology. Let's go.
Didn't you see the news? You didn't see the news. Nationwide Costco has said you don't need to wear a mask.
Actually, that's not accurate.
What is accurate?
So what is accurate is that Costco always goes above and beyond when following the law. and the mandate in California has not changed. There does seem to be the possibility that in June, by mid-June, that's a date that California, I know,
if
is
they
looking
allow
at.
us, if they grant us that, our kings, the people in power, you're going to listen to these people?
You see, right there. Like really?
That it was nothing personal.
I can't find the apology, but yeah, so that's the video since you guys hadn't seen it before.
People that can't hold their cell phones horizontally drive me bonkers. Sorry.
I just sent that to my cousin the other day for an unrelated thing. She's like, "Do you want it horizontal or do you want it vertical?" And I sent her the vertical video syndrome video with the puppets from like a decade or 15 years ago. And so just so she learns, vertical is the proper way because your TV doesn't mount sideways. Your TV mounts 16:9. But yeah, I don't have the video of his apology, but you know,
we got enough out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, besides all the other stuff that I ranted and raved about, like stop giving fucking workers shit for things like these. He just knows, like, oh, what our king make? Like, shut the fuck. If I was behind him, like, you fucking asshole. Like, get the fuck out. This dude has better things to do than to fuck with your fucking annoying ass. I hate that. It bothers me to no end. Like, I feel for service workers. I do.
All right.
Unionized. Let's go.
Unionized. Hey, we can talk about that when we get back because that's a topic on the list, kind of. Tan Mom's still not here. Sorry, anyone who listens to the podcast expecting.
I think Tan Mom has slid her way out of this podcast, so we're good.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's always been kind of flaky. It's so weird. Like, I listen to the Shuli show, so there you go, free plug. Yeah, are you listening to the Shuli show, Vince?
Love Shuli. I still wish he was back on Stern.
Are you listening to his new show though?
A little bit,
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll hear these whack packers just call in like while he's like doing it live on Patreon or whatever, and he'll just hold it up and he'll have a conversation with him on the speakerphone, and it's just wacky. That's how I heard her. So I think they're probably going to be hard to nail down, but we'll see. Maybe we did get Elephant Boy. That was fun. And he's probably the most stable except for the way he sounds, I'd say, beside of it all the whack back. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about more stuff when we get back. And hey, if Tan Mom shows up and responds to my text, maybe we'll have her.
I'll bet you we can get Wendy.
I need to reach out to her. I can't find her on social media, so I don't know how to reach out to her.
If I knew which Walmart she went into the dumpster of the, could find her.
Just be like, Wendy, I got some fried chicken. Come on, you're gonna be a guest on the podcast.
Not changing her diaper.
Oh, gross. All right. You're gonna listen to Usual Saints. We'll be right back. All right. Oh, she ain't. I don't think she's coming. So.
No.
I'm gonna say no.
I don't know. You want to do like a little short C block and wrap it up? I don't know, 15 minutes or.
Saint likes to have deadlines. I talk for 2 or 3 hour shows. I'm like, me and Vinny and Jeremy when Saint was gone, we're just like doing these elongated shows even without guests.
Oh no, we can keep going. I mean, if we got any topics, I can keep going.
I'm good to cut it short if you need to.
Let's see, probably 9:50.
Oh my fucking god! I blew out my headphones.
Sorry.
I guess I pissed somebody off.
His dogs don't like black people.
Right. No, I can go. I can go for another half hour.
No, it's fine. Which one's that? Lucky or the other one? Lucky, stop barking, buddy. It's okay.
Come here.
I'm gonna have to leave that loud pitch in for the podcast. Possibly, we'll see. Loud pitch barking. All right. Welcome back to Usual Saints. I'm Mike D here with Saint and Vince. Still no Tan Mom, and we're in the C block, so I'm guessing she's not going to show up. I bet she shows up at like 9:30. She's like, "Where are you guys? What's going on? I was there for you. I was supposed to be on the podcast." It's
like we all went sliding. That's what happened.
So we'll see how long we go. There's a whole bunch of topics on the list. I think eventually we're just gonna have to get rid of them because they're not timely anymore. But did you guys hear Dave Bautista said he doesn't want to play Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy anymore after this next one because he's going to be 54, I think, when the third one comes out. And he's talking about, I'm tired of taking my shirt off for roles. I'm like, bro, if I was in your shape, even at 54, I wouldn't be whining about that. Like you get paid millions of dollars. Well, I don't know how much he gets paid to be Drax, but I think he's also talking facetiously. But I love him in that role. I wish that's not the case, but it probably is for the trilogy. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But
I kind of think, yeah, I did see that. I don't know. I kind of feel like he knows that maybe this might be the last Guardians thing. And, unlike other people, it's probably a pain in the ass to put on all that fucking makeup because normally, you just have to do a face thing, but he has to go full upper body, whatever. Who knows how many hours a day that takes. And like you said, I'm probably 50. Okay, this is a great. I'm going to get all like the crazy ideas I have in my head out on this podcast. So this is what happened. This is what it really is. So pay attention, podcast listeners and hosts. Everybody who does a Marvel movie and even a DC movie, but Marvel is the easiest way. It's easier to see there. They reach a point where the actors are like, yeah, fuck that shit. They hit a point where they're doing these movies big time. They're making money. And they hit the point where they all go, yeah, fuck that shit. Examples. Robert Downey Jr. in the first Iron Man got paid $500,000, actually was in a suit. Obviously, it's not metal or whatever, but is in a suit that the helmet comes down. They put it on. He's walking around in it. Yes, there's tons of CG for the Iron Man part, but he's actually in a suit. By the time we get to Iron Man 3 and Infinity War and everything, Robert Downey Jr. is like, yeah, fuck that shit. It's double tap, all CG. Downey's in his trailer. It's like, yeah, y'all CG all that shit. Scarlett Johansson, she literally plays the Black Widow, who in the comics is known for her long red hair. That's how she started out in Iron Man 2, if you remember. And that wig is ridiculous. I mean, it's over the top ridiculous. By the time we get to Endgame, she has her blonde hair, doesn't do the Russian accent, is everything. Yo, fuck that shit. Elizabeth Olsen, that's right?
Olsen,
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Avengers Age of Ultron. She's from Sokovia. She has a Eastern European accent, or we talk like this from Rocky and Bullwinkle and all that bullshit. Time she gets to Infinity War, there's no accent. Yeah, fuck that shit. Chris Hemsworth, Thor, and Thor's supposed to talk about, an Asgardian and thee, have at thee foe. By the time we get to Thor Ragnarok, yeah, we're just doing jokes. I'm not putting on the blonde wig. I'm not putting on them. It's yeah. So I think Batista's just hit the point with Drax, where he's like, you want me to be in the makeup chair for 10 hours before I go out and act? He's like, yeah, fuck that shit. Like, and then just where it goes to. It's, they do these characters, they make a bunch of money, but eventually it's like, do you really want me to get in the costume? Do I really have to?
I think Bautista is like the realist. Like all his social media, he's always real about everything, about his opinions. He doesn't hold them back, anything like that. So I mean, I think he's also realizing that eventually it's going to have to come to a new guard, whether that means a new Drax or new Guardians, and whether that's a new trilogy or reboot. But we still have one more movie out of them, and it's I think a badly kept secret that the Guardians are going to be in the next Thor as well, Love and Thunder. So all the Guardians are going to be in that, because at the end of Endgame they went off with Thor to find Gamora. So
Well, I mean, there has to be some kind of bridge. Like what happened? He literally went off with them. So yeah, I mean, if there's like a cross, but then again, Batista's like, oh shit, I just signed up for another 2 months of waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to do 10 hours of makeup, and freaking Chris Pratt just shows up, puts on a fucking leather suit, and he's Star-Lord. I'm sure after a while it's like it probably gets annoying, so what is going on?
This has got some attack dogs, bro. It just needs to learn how to use the mute button. I can mute him. There we go.
Oh, okay. I'm not tripping.
I think it's funny. but yeah, with the Marvel stuff, I muted Vince, by the way, if you want to come back on whenever. The Thor thing with Ragnarok, I have to attribute a lot of that to Taika Waititi taking over Thor Ragnarok, and just adding his brand of humor. I'm a huge fan of his. Do you watch What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh yeah, I saw the first episode. He had the movie. I didn't get to finish that, but I saw the TV show. And because I mean, Kevin Feige probably. I mean, if you give him some truth to him, he'd admit that Thor: The Dark World is the worst Marvel movie. So they actually had to go a different direction. But watch what happens. He's Thor. He has the long hair, but they've completely dropped the whole Asgardian way of talking. And 20 minutes in the movie, he gets a haircut. And that's just Chris Helmler going like, I'm not putting on your stupid fucking wig. Here's another example. Game of Thrones. They have that, fuck that shit in Game of Thrones. Watch the very first episode of Game of Thrones. Watch Tyrion Lannister. Who's the actor? I'm sorry.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Watch the wigs all the Lannisters have on their heads. Watch the clothes and the thing that all the Starks have. By the time we get to season 6 and 7, it's fuck that shit. Like Lannisters are supposed to have this golden, everything about them is supposed to be gold because Lannister gold. By the time we get to the end of the series, they're not blondes anymore. Him, Jamie, no, it's fuck that shit. I'm not putting on your stupid fucking wig. Amelia Clark's like, I'm not getting naked anymore. Yeah, fuck that shit. It's just like, roll the camera. I'm getting paid lots of money. Once you have the leverage, it's like, I'm not doing that. But he has a crazy, Peter Dinklage has a crazy blonde wig on, and by the end of the show, he has a brown beard with brown hair. He's not a Lannister blonde anymore, and that's just completely fuck that shit. Just roll camera. Let's go. So
unless it's a plot point in the series, like obviously in the books it's different, but if it's in the TV series, they make it a plot point. They should probably stick with it. But obviously, if it's something small like that, they might just be able to let it slip, and no one will notice. Like,
no, they don't care anymore.
I know.
By the time we've hit season 6 and 7, the actors are like, no one cares. Like, I'm not putting on your wig. Like, I'm not sitting in the makeup chair. Because have you ever read what actors have to do? Or you ever see the behind the scenes of some of that shit where they have to be, especially for the makeup, but even like putting on wigs, they have to show up 2 or 3 hours early so they can get the wigs and make sure they're right and stuff. And I'm guessing, eventually you're a big enough star. You're just like, I'm going to walk out the trailer and get on the set and roll the cameras. Let's go. But that's,
I can't feel bad for Hollywood people, man, because they get SAG minimum, which I don't even know how much that is now. I'm reading Greg Sestero's book, The Disaster Room, about a disaster artist about The Room, making of The Room, and he was getting $2,500 back in the '90s for SAG minimum. So listen, they're pampered. They got craft services. They're off weekends
for the shoot, or
that was at SAG minimum weekly. So I mean, that was in the '90s. So I mean, nowadays I have to figure it's more. Yeah. By the way, Sainte, you're frozen. I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
It's your fancy 4K camera that you got hooked up. Can't handle it. All right. So let's see. We can probably cover 1 or 2 more things. We don't have to go long. I have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's see. I did want to, obviously Bill Gates is getting divorced, and that's going to be a huge settlement, maybe even bigger than Bezos, depending on how it settles and works out. But I didn't know he was such a stud, and he was just fucking around his office, man. So, hey, I guess Bill Gates is the man. I don't know. But he also had that sexual harassment lawsuit, and that's why he had to leave the board of Microsoft, last year or 2 years ago. So not a great thing. You guys got any thoughts on Bill Gates?
Yeah, but like, on one hand, it's like, you get him and Bezos, like, it doesn't matter how rich you are, man, you're still dealing with the same problems. Every Joe Smo, doesn't matter if you're making $1 million or minimum wage, you're going to be dealing with the same things, man. The marriage life doesn't change. But I'd also say do they have kids?
I think, yeah, no, I know they do. I think one's on Instagram. So I know they have at least a daughter. I don't know if they have more, but yeah, definitely have at least one. But I mean, we'll see. You know, it's going to be a huge. What is it, 130 million or 130 billion? So 65 billion each if they split it down the middle. You know, I don't know. Vince is shaking his head. You can unmute anytime, Vince, if you have something to say. You got it. Hang on. Let's see. Ask to unmute. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a huge divorce. We'll see what the news pops up. I mean, I doubt you've covered it.
To me, if you're into that kind of stuff, messing around with other women, why would you get married in the first place? If you got all this money anyway. Why bother?
Vince has only been married. Vince has only been married for like a year and a half or 2 years.
I've been married 0. But facts are facts. If you're into all that and you got all that money, why bother? You're going to get caught at some point.
This goes back to the Chris Rock from Bring the Pain, or was it? He's talking about old pussy versus new pussy.
Right. Right.
Listen, it doesn't change, okay?
Yeah. New pussy can't read. New pussy can't take care of you when you're sick.
Bring the Pain is classic.
One of my all-time top 5. But I was gonna say there is another theory of thought here where it's like, just like Bezos, if you're that rich, right? Because we look at the number, we think about it. It's like 130 billion, 65. Now, if you're talking about $130, 65 is a big difference. Even if you're talking about 130,000, even talking about maybe 1.3 million. But when you're in the 130 billion, I mean, if I get 65, like if you go from 130 billion to 65 billion, what changes in your life? Literally, what in your life changes?
The status on that top 10 richest people in the world. That's virtually it.
That's it. That's all you're competing against is, I'm not with these other guys who have 200 million, but your life doesn't change in iota. So I think Bezos, that's really what happened with Bezos. He was just like, hey, she gets 25. Nothing's changed over here. She gets 25 billion. I'm going to make that up in, I don't know, a year or two. So, and he, I mean, that's, and by all accounts, I guess his mistress or his new girlfriend looks very similar to his wife. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but anyway, yeah, if I'm Bill Gates and I'm just not happy with her, I'm like, I'm still one of the 300 richest guys. And now I don't have to like hide anything or, I can just go around and do whatever I want. I mean, it might just be, go do your thing, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they'd be better at hiding it, maybe having a secret room or something, like some of these guys do. But no, this guy did it openly, and then they reported him, and went from there. But I mean, that goes to because I think Jeff Bezos' wife, that goes to the definition of hot, because Sainte's definition of hot. He had a question about that. I think Jeff Bezos' ex-wife now, not hot. I think she's attractive and whatnot.
Jeff Bezos' wife she's worth $25 billion hot. When you look at her compared to other women, you're like, oh, it's an attractive lady. It's like, do you know she's worth $25 billion? Oh, that's some hotness going on, right? There's levels to this. There's actual hotness, and then there's hotness relative to insert whatever we're talking about. There's, okay, this is an attractive woman, but then if she's, the only woman in, I don't know, 500 square miles, well, she's going to be hot. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I just don't like that word being thrown around where it's like, oh, she's hot. It's like, is she hot, or is she just like compared to,
I upset Saint a few weeks ago. Not upset, but he took notice when I said that a certain politician's sister I thought was hot, because one of our other members, Vinny, he thought the politician was hot, and Saint said, whoa, and I put the picture up in the messenger chat, and he disagreed, so I wanted to make sure we covered it to see.
I'm not disrespecting or casting aspersions on anyone. It's people can be good looking or whatever, but we're like, oh man, she's hot, and I'm like, are we just throwing away around the word hot just to like, well, she's, an attractive looking woman who's standing next to less attractive women, I'm saying, like, that's not to me what hot is supposed to be about. It's supposed to say, hey, wow, she's, like a Rihanna. If I see Rihanna, I'd be like, Rihanna's hot. Like, put Rihanna next to, Rihanna could be dirt poor. She's going to be hot. You know what I'm saying? Or Rihanna could be not famous. She's going to be hot. But, we're talking about some of these people. It's like, it's kind of like, okay, again,
she's good looking.
Yes. Yeah. Not casting aspersions on anyone, but I've seen places where people talk about how hot AOC is. And I'm like, is she hot, or is she just compared to all the other women in Congress that you're looking at, and she's just an attractive woman who happens to be a congressperson? No aspersions, very attractive young woman. But people are like, oh, AOC is so hot. Look at her. And really?
A large gap between her and the people and what she's doing.
Standing next to Nancy Pelosi, okay, maybe AOC's hot. Yeah. But, it's like hot. Like, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's keep things in perspective, proper, you may be a good-looking dude, and then Chris Hemsworth walks through the door, The Rock walks through the door, and all of a sudden you're Joe Slub now. It's all keep things in perspective. That's all I'm saying.
Reserved for a select few.
Yeah, hot.
I throw it around. I don't care. I'm like, anyone can be hot if I say the word, but that's just me. Yeah, like in that she's dancing in that Breakfast Club dancing video from when she was in college. I showed that to you, Vince. You guys didn't think that AOC's dancing video was she was hot back in that video?
No.
I still think she's good looking. I think she's about as dumb as a sheet of plywood, but she's very easy on the eyes.
Very, very cute. No, she's smart. I mean, actually, she's well. I'll give her this.
Sorry, I disagree.
If you disagree with her, she's politically savvy for a politician in 2020-21, like very politically savvy. I don't agree with everything that she goes with. Some of them like, I ain't really rocking with that. I agree with some of the things, but I will say her political savviness is what I find a lot of people have a problem with. Is like she's using social media. She knows how to be outspoken. She knows how to do that. Where it's like some of those politicians, like, you hear them talking, it's like they're ruling on things or doing things that they obviously have no idea. You ever see the commission when they were talking to the guy, the CEO of Google, and they're asking, why does my iPhone do this? And the guy from Google's like, I don't know. I run Google. Like, that's your iPhone. I'm the CEO of Google. It's like, yeah, I know that. But when I hit my iPhone, it does this. Isn't that a problem? And he's like, again, I run Google, a search company. That's something you probably should be asking, Tim Cook. Embarrassing. But back to AOC, in 2020, 2021, I think she's very politically savvy, attractive, semi-hot. Hot.
I'm not going to say hot. She's definitely.
That video was cute. Yes. Okay. Very easy on the eye. That's a great use. Easy on the eyes. Yes. Yeah.
Is she? Would you guys say that she's the hottest member of Congress, or is there someone hotter?
Offhand, I can't think of anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, there has to be.
Ooh. Is there even anyone within 20, 30 years of her?
Yeah, there are. Like Kristen Sinema is the senator from Arizona. She's probably in her 40s. I'm naming people. You got you got what's her name? Talib from Minnesota, right? She's hot. She's
I was gonna say who's the one from Minnesota?
She's I don't want to get her name wrong. I think it's Talib. Let me look.
No, that's the Michigan one. I'm talking about the one from Minnesota.
Bring some of these pictures up, Mike.
All right, give me a minute.
we can call this podcast disrespect. We're out here rating Congress.
That should be a whole episode.
Who's the hottest congresswoman? Like,
Didn't we do something on the last one I was on?
Maybe, I don't know. We talk about this stuff a lot. All right, here we go. This is the squad. I'm pulling it up. Let's see.
Is it Tashif Tlaib, the one from Minnesota?
No, I meant Ilan Omar. That's who I meant.
Ilan Omar. Yeah, right. She is, I think, very classically beautiful. She has great skin tone. I think her look is very. Again, I would never be like, oh, she's hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think she's very. She has a very classic beauty to her, and I think AOC is just just an attractive Latino from New York who stands next to a bunch of women who you're just like, but
stands next to a bunch of trolls.
But if we're talking about the hottest member of Congress, you can include men. You can include Dan Crenshaw from Texas if you're into one-eyed Republican guys.
Come on, man. Come on. That's actually I can't. Yeah, man or woman. I can't really think off the top of my head right now.
There you go. I mean, come on.
Who's Crenshaw? It's got to be somebody else who's younger.
Matt Gaetz.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
she looks good there.
Right.
She'd look better here if it didn't say Boston on her shirt.
I mean, she's an attractive woman. I've never said any different. I'm just saying people are like, oh, she's hot. And this is very, very cute and maybe a little bit overdone. But
are we going to get canceled because we're calling people hot? Or?
I hope so. I'd love to be canceled for that.
I hope not.
See again, this whole if someone say we blow up and then someone goes back and is like, oh, you did a podcast back in 2001 where you guys were ranking members. I'll be like, yeah, it was a stupid conversation. We admitted it's stupid. It kind of, the conversations went left a little bit, but it's not as if, that's what I'm saying. When people are like, oh, you get canceled. It's like, if you just go out and explain, what it was, it's not like I'm actually out here like, oh, this member of Congress. I'd be more in favor of Nancy Pelosi if she'd show a little more, she it's, I don't know.
She wore some more V-necks, showed off her cleavage a little more.
Come on, Nancy.
All right. I think that's a good note to go out on. We've been going for an hour and a half or whatever. Get Nancy Pelosi showing more cleavage. It's a good note to go out on.
That could be the cold open. Come on, Nancy.
Sorry, anyone who listens to this for not having Tan Mom. I had all the intentions. She still has not texted back. So after having a very open conversation with her, that seems to have fallen through. I think she's just flaky. So maybe we'll have her sometime in the future. Maybe we'll just have a show and not planning on having her. If she jumps in, we can do it that way.
You're telling me Tan Mom isn't the most responsible person? I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm probably inferring, I guess. All right, so let's see. If you guys want to follow us, we're usualsaints.com. You can find all our social medias, Usual Saints, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have a Facebook group. All our episodes and all the streaming is on our website, usualsaints.com. We're on Anchor, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you want to find your podcast. And if you guys have any questions, you can call, leave a voicemail. It's 240-724-6877. You can email us, usualsaints@gmail.com. We have our own little emails on the website as well. Vince doesn't, but if you have a question for Vince,
question for me, you let Mike know.
And I'll relay it and we'll talk about it. But if you guys have any topics, questions, comments, like anything you want us to talk about, we actually thinking about doing like a viewer suggestion show. Like, but we'd have to get enough of that in order to, I think, make a whole show out of it. We can at least make a segment if we got a few good ones, and we can have to talk about
the whole show rating people.
Rating people, we could do that. I don't care.
I would love
that'd be a very long show. I mean, is it when we just doing numbers or what are we doing?
We'll figure it out.
Wait, you were on for the sexy character bracket.
Yes, I got overruled several times.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the democracy. Who won that one? Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn won.
Yes.
Yes, I don't disagree. That's going to be my tattoo I have scheduled for July. I just got to figure out which version of her I'm going to get on me. So, yeah. So, you guys got anything to say before we head out?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Thanks for showing up and coming through with our normal, usual Saints not being here, Vince. So appreciate it. Good conversation. And yeah, man, everyone out there, be on the lookout. The USSR, the usual Saints screen reviews / rants. I was like, maybe you screen rants, but USSR screen reviews coming soon. Probably going to start out with some oldies like Demolition Man, and then maybe I'll review a couple of current TV shows. The Mayor of Easttown probably is going to be first up on the list. And if I'm still around and not killing fish in the middle of the Bering Sea, maybe we can get into some Loki with me and Mike. We'll see. So be on the lookout for that.
I will have better lighting next time. I had to do it in the bedroom because there were people over the house. So
if maybe you can euthanize the dogs next time before you come on.
I'd rather euthanize a person. Sorry.
Yeah. Vincent's dogs are. No, I'm not editing it out. You can leave it in. We're all about being real and funny.
I'm pro leaving that in. I don't care about other people's feelings. So
that's why I invited you to be a guest host. I knew you're outspoken. Yeah. So you'd be good. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to the usual Saints. We'll be back next week with another episode. And like Saint said, USSR soon, but we'll be promoting that whenever we get around to it. But once again, for Saint and Vince and Vinny and Jeremy, even though they're not here, thanks. And you've been listening to the usual Saints.
Peace.
Peace.
We had to do the peace thing because that's Vinny's thing. R.I.P. Vinny.
All right, I'm gonna go.
All right, man. Thanks for being on the podcast, Vince. Yep. Appreciate it.
Later.
All right. Let me stop the live stream. There we go.